Catflap Chats. This is episode 97. I'm going to set the scene a little bit just before we start this, because this one's a bit different to normal. I'm sat in Abergavenny at a gentleman's house. Name is Paul Stromberg. Many of you would never have heard of the guy, but one of my friends has been working on construction sites, and this gentleman's been working on there. Turns out, he got out of jail 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 10 days ago.
10 days ago. 14 years inside for... Is that right?
14 years, 6 months, 3 weeks and 4 days. Don't forget the 6 months, 3 weeks and 4 days.
So over 14 and a half years in jail for... And I'm going to go into just the real basics here before we start this. Got caught with a boat that contained... And I want to say this is right, but it might not be, so feel free to correct me. 337 kilograms of 81% pure cocaine to the street value of over 40 million. Like I said, you've been working on site. My mate got chatting to you. He's introduced us, and he said you've got a fantastic story to tell. So that's setting the scene there. I don't really know where today is going to go, but my first question, I suppose, is, I said this off pod, what's life been like since coming out of jail for that long? How are you finding things? You've been working a little bit. Like, what's life like? Welcome to Catflap Chats, pal.
What's life like since being out? It's all I can really say. It's nice. It's nice not to be in that place anymore. You know. I suppose when you get to prison, when you're looking at a lengthy sentence like that one, it's daunting, to say the least. You know, a lot of people go into these places, and I mean, even the toughest man, on the planet, I'm not having it that he's not broke down at some time in his cell. Do you know what I'm saying? It does get to you, especially the initial stage of it. So it's nice not to be there anymore. You get used to being in there, And I thought to myself, it'd be harder or stranger to be out than it actually is, and it's not. I've sort of gelled into it really easy and quickly, Yeah. It's not been as strange as I thought it would be.
And as we chat today, I'm just going to put this in here now. There are certain things that I might ask questions that you can't answer or you're not going to answer. So I'm happy for this to kind of go in as much depth or detail. I don't expect names or stuff like that. But again, I'm fascinated today to just find out your story. So I'd love to take it just back to the beginning. Before all this, what did you do? What was life like? How did you get into this industry, shall we say?
Okay. When I left school, I worked for my father. He had a builder's merchants. I worked there till the age of 20, when I left the UK and went to Portugal, and I worked for timeshare companies for about 5 years. After 5 years, I was in Cyprus one summer, and I was on a motorbike. Got knocked off a motorbike and broke both my legs. Very unfortunate, breaking them both. Breaking one's hard enough. Breaking two's.
In a wheelchair for a bit.
Yeah, wheelchair. I was in hospital 10 months. So when I came out of hospital and sort of started recovering, I didn't want to stay in that industry, the timeshare work. It wasn't something I liked doing anyway. And it's difficult to sort of, you see, it's difficult to say things without put myself in too much bother about what I've done in the past, you see. Well, let's say I started while I was in Portugal, going down to Spain, and buying hashish and taking it to Portugal, basically, because the hashish starts in Morocco. It comes to Spain over from Morocco, and so Spain is the cheapest place in Europe to go and buy it from. So, if you're buying in Spain and you're taking to Portugal, you can double your money on it. And basically, it sort of escalated. That's where it was first started, and it escalated from there.
And how old were you at this time? Like, what sort of age were you there?
25.
And did you ever, like, at that stage, was it, like, again, like, I don't want to implicate you or other people in things that might not have come out or whatever, but, like, are you doing that just for you? Are you doing it for other people? Is it part of a bigger network? Like, I want to try and paint the picture of this and understand it a bit, you know?
All then I was doing it for me.
Yeah. Just make a few quid, put money in, get money out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how did that escalate then?
Well, like anything in business, isn't it? It's
I love the fact you look at it as a job and business. Like,
it is a job and business, isn't it? It's just, you know, some people sell apples, you know. And it wasn't as if I've never really sold anything. Well, back then it was a little bit different back then, but I class myself more as logistics, you know.
Yeah.
I move things, I transport things. It's what, you know, and I was transporting the thing that could pay the most money to transport.
Yeah.
That's the way I looked at it, you know. It's not. I didn't really have a lot to do with. Whenever I'd done anything, I didn't have a lot to do with one end, where it came from, or where it was going to.
Yeah.
It was just really more, I was moving a product from A to B. It just happened to be illegal products, but illegal products are the things you make the most money on.
Yeah, of course. Did you, at that age, like 25, I'm 35 now, so if I think back to 25, I was chasing girls and weekends out and stuff like that, working. Did you ever, like, have the fear that you were going to get caught then, or
No.
was it easy to do, or?
Easier than obviously it is today. Technology moves on. And they get better at catching. Was the fear there? I suppose in the back of your mind, yeah, obviously. There was, you know, I've had some very sticky situations, especially in Spain. Well, I thought, oh dear, this is it, right? But somehow got through them. But the benefits outweighed any fear that you might have had, I suppose.
From, like, a monetary point of view? Live a nice life off it.
Life was good.
And, like, sticky situations you mentioned there, and this is before we get into, like, cocaine and stuff. Are they situations where people are trying to cross you and you fear a bit for your life, or is that more police and authorities?
No, more authorities, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never really been in too many situations where. Well, there are a few times I've been in situations where I'm thinking, oh my God, do these people really mean this, you know?
Yeah.
Where mistakes of, you might have been blamed for something. I'm thinking of a situation in my mind now where me and two of my colleagues who work with me, we was possibly getting the blame for something getting lost, something not getting lost, being taken.
Yeah.
Where it would have meant the end, right, you know? So yeah, that that was a situation where if if it wouldn't have been resolved and they wouldn't have been happy that it wasn't our concern, it wasn't our doing, then yeah, it'd have been the end for us. Yeah.
And like within a situation like that, obviously not knowing the details that you can't obviously go into, do you pay for that back out of your own pocket, or do you kind of take them through the journey so that they can see it's not your fault? Like, how do you resolve a situation?
Well,
like that?
if something like what I went to prison for, you know, like let's say £40 million street value.
Yeah.
It was actually 300 bricks of cocaine that weighed 336 kilos. So it's really only classed, in my eyes, as 300 kilos.
Yeah.
The bricks, if it weighs more or weighs less, and I think they weighed it with the wrapping on as well. So
yeah.
there's probably 5% of wrapping there. If that gets lost, it's part and parcel of the business. Like, it's just everyone wipes their nose and carries on. Like, you know.
Yeah.
There is no comeback on something like that. But if something goes missing, and there is no authorities of taking it, then God, there needs to be answers, and you know, there'd have to be bloody good answers.
And as you, I suppose, I'm trying to just like put myself in your shoes there. Like, as you're meeting these people that you're obviously transporting stuff for, you know, you're not working for them, but you're almost subcontracting to them, I suppose, right?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
What are these people like? Are they, because people watch Narcos or they watch TV and this very Americanized and almost glamorized being like a drugs dealer, the leader of a cartel, whatever it might be. What is it actually like when you're meeting these people and running errands for them and doing what you do, transporting goods? Like, what are these people actually like? Is it big networks? Are you just dealing with one person? Like, how big or small are these operations that you were dealing with?
If you're talking about, you know, the hash days, it's very small, very tight little communities. There's no really bad people involved in that industry. Then you get up to the cocaine level, it all changes dramatically. The people this side are not to be messed with at all. You know, they are, I suppose, a firm over here you'd be working for who, you don't want to upset these people. Over the other side, Venezuela and Colombia, it gets even more hairy with these people. You know, you can just sense what these people are all about. You know, when I was in Venezuela doing this job, it was an island called Margarita, and I was staying with two Colombians from Cali, from Cali Cartel guys. Nice, very nice guys, gentlemen they were, really nice fellas. I stayed in the apartment for 2 weeks with them, and we went out eating, drinking, clubbing together. We had a good time with them. Really nice fellas. I got to be like sort of friends with these guys. But one day they said, "Listen, the cartel from Caracas, it's the capital of Venezuela, said they want to meet with you to see who you are and maybe talk to us about future work, but they want to see the transport link. They just want to look in your eyes."
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Do I have to meet these guys? I don't. You know, to me, the less people you meet, the better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So no, just come to the restaurant and we'll go and meet with these guys. Okay. So we pulls up outside this restaurant, and the restaurant's closed. But you can see in the middle of the restaurant there's a big round table, and there's 4 guys sat on this table, and it's open just for them. You know. So the doors unlocked. We go in. They don't speak a word of English. These guys, the Colombians spoke perfect English.
Yeah.
And so, and I walked in. We sat at the table, and straight away I just looked over and went, "Oh my God, what am I doing at this table with these people?" No, do you know when you can just look at people and there's an air about the place straight away, and you just think, and they look at you with that look, that just solemn, deaf look. And they were just trying to weigh me up and just seeing if they liked my presence, you know.
Obviously, you don't want to implicate anything further, but do you carry protection at this point? Do you have like a bodyguard? Of the Colombian guys, have they got your back, or are they working? The Colombian lads, are they working with these Venezuelan guys? Like
they're working together. Yeah. Obviously, they work with each other. Yeah. No, I never carried a gun. It was pointless. You'd get seriously hurt, like, you know.
Yeah. I suppose you're bringing.
They got more guns than you could carry.
Yeah, of course.
No, I never carried a gun. Now the thing is, I was needed because I was the link that got something from there to wherever it was going.
Yeah.
A to B. So I was a commodity that they needed. So it was pretty good for us because we got looked after, obviously.
Yeah.
You know, they so there was no problem. We'd need any protection from anybody. You know, we got looked after. Like, for example, now down there, what was you're probably paying about in Venezuela and Panama, places like that, you're probably paying about £2,000 for a kilo of cocaine. Yeah. Now, when it gets back to, say, Spain, Portugal, it's probably turned into £20,000. Then when it gets back to England, if it ever comes onto there, that's usually where it ends up. But sometimes it'll stay in Spain. It'll turn into 30,000. So what the deal is with these guys is what you go down and buy. Now, not my money. It's nothing to do with me. But what the people I was working for over this end would go and buy, the Colombians would then put in. Now, if they're paying, for example, if they're paying £2,000 a kilo, now that probably means they're getting it for 1,000. The Colombians. It's got to come from Colombia to Venezuela for a start, you know. So there's costs involved, obviously. So basically, the Colombians will let's say you want to buy 100 kilos, so you go down with £200,000. Now, for that £200,000, the Colombians can buy 200 kilos. So there'll be a bit of work involved for them, but basically they're getting and giving me to transport 100 kilos of theirs that's been paid for by this end, by the firm this end.
Yeah.
So it's free to them.
Are you carrying that in cash, or is that like bank transfer? This might sound stupid, but
no, it won't be carried in cash. No.
No, just transfer it all sorted, done.
Yeah, it'll be paid at source.
Yeah,
probably.
You haven't got to worry about any of that. That's all sorted before you go and do all this, yeah. Or have you got to sort that out as well?
I'll tell you the story. This is quite a funny little story. I'm in a warehouse in Margarita. The army have just turned up in an army truck, jumped out of M16s, dropped off 300 kilos of cocaine.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Which which is a bit hairy in itself, you know.
I can imagine. I've never been in a situation like that, but I can just imagine.
You know, it's pretty safe being transported by the army, like, you know.
Yeah.
They get paid well. Everybody over everyone's on it. Everyone's involved. Police, army, you know.
Yeah.
To a certain level. They want a payday. Anyway, there's 300 kilos of the cocaine on the floor in bales. It comes in 30 kilo bales, all taped together and sealed in polythene, so it can be dropped in the sea sometimes, you know.
Yeah.
When they drop it for yachts. Anyway, you've got to cut the bales open. So I get a phone call from somebody this end saying, okay, is it all there? I said, ring us back, I'll count, I'll just check it all. So I've had to cut, even though the bales are there, you know, and even though it's half the Colombians' thing, they still want it checked because the Colombians aren't going to start not having the right amount and not having the right quality of gear because they want that to get home because that's now their profit in there,
of course.
you know. Now let's say that 300 kilos, 150 kilos was the firm over here, and 150 kilos now paid for from the firm over here belongs to the Colombians.
Yeah.
So they don't want to sell it in Colombia or Venezuela for a few $1,000.
Yeah.
They want it to get to Europe to get the big dollars.
Yeah.
So anyways, I've counted it. Yeah, he's phoned back. All there. It's all there. He says, okay. He said, have you tested it? I went, no, I've not tested it. He said, well, just do us a favour. Pull a random 6 out. And have a test of it really for us. I'm like, it's like, you know, it's like probably 100 degrees. Middle of the afternoon. in a sweaty warehouse.
Yeah.
I don't want to be in there anyway, you know. The army have just dropped the thing off, you know, guns all over the place. I'm thinking, test it, you know. I'm paranoid enough without this being up at fucking beaks, you know. So I goes, okay, ring us back in 20 minutes. And there's a little office on the side where a Venezuelan guy and his family actually lived. And he looked after the warehouse site, you know, but he wasn't there for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Told to
Scarpa.
go away
Yeah.
and come back till later.
Yeah.
And he's got a little ring there, so we take 6 bricks in there. I cut one open, the corner one, and you can see it's flake, you know. I mean, a lot of people probably have a disillusion that cocaine's powder. It's not powder, it's powder once it's been mixed over this end, you know.
Cut up.
It's an oily, flaky substance, which when you touch it with your fingers, it just will melt into oil into your hands. So, you know, it's very oily, waxy sort of feel to it. You can't. You see them on the films, and they cut open a corner of a block of cocaine, and they sniff. It can't be done. You can't do that. No.
It's like talcum powder.
It's nonsense. You can't do that. You have to get a plate, warm it on a ring, electric ring, so it's warm. It can't be hot. Because if it's hot, you put the cocaine on that, it'll melt. It'll melt into oil. So all you have to do is just warm it, touch it with your hand, take a bit of the cocaine and chop it, and within 10-15 seconds of chopping it there, it'll dry, and the oiliness it will dry up, and the fumes and whatever there's in there, the diesel and the aviation fluid they've used the aviation fuel they've used to clean it with, that'll evaporate. So it's not going to be so harsh on your nose as well.
Yeah.
And it'll then you can take a note and snort it, you know. So anyway, I've done this, heated it, yeah, that'll do. That'll work. I mean, you can see it's right. You don't.
Yeah.
So, and I looked at my pal and I went, "Listen, that's enough. I ain't taking any more of this. I'm not. Yeah, I'm just. Let's just cut them open, and you
have
can
a look.
see.
Yeah.
Let's do all the same. Yeah, they're all the same. They had they had a stamp of a scorpion on. Scorpion impressed into them, and they're all the same. And you could see it was all the same quality, you know. So a little while later, the guys phoned back. Okay, so have you tested it? Yeah, I've tested it. It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's all there. It's good.
Yeah.
He said, can I pay the guy then? So paid him out. So he's paying that end, this end. So you obviously got your network of these cartel guys. They have people in every, you know, they wouldn't mind me saying this. They have people in every city in the world, like you know. They have their links everywhere, you know. So he gets paid this end, and then they don't want the cash over there in Colombia or Venezuela. They want it here to buy property with it. Or invest it in businesses here. Where it's going to make a better return for them than keeping it over there, you know. They don't want it over there. They want it here. So it works well for
everyone involved.
Yeah, everyone involved. The money's got not got to travel. See.
And how do you make the step from selling hashish up to cocaine? Because you're obviously building a reputation of being a good transporter. How does that jump come?
Well, I'll tell you what happened. In the hashish market used to be very profitable, and I would never have made the jump had it not been for the money in the hash market just fell on its arse, like, you know. In the sort of early 90s, a kilo of hashish used to be £2,400 in this country, and you could buy in Spain for 700. We'd pay £300 transport once it got home after it'd been sold. So the 700, and let's say maybe £50 expenses money, so 750. You're getting it home for 750. Now I'd clear probably 22s, £2,000 to 22s on it, and then you'd pay £300 transport. So you're making nearly £1,000 every kilo. So, for example, if I'd bring on 200 kilos, and me and my partner, well, there's 100 grand each for us there.
Yeah.
That sounds lucrative, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For example, like, not saying I ever did that.
And how
that's how it would work if I had it.
And how long would that process take from you going, right, I'm going to go and visit these guys to pick this up, to get it back, and it gets picked up from you? How long might that process take? Is that a day, a
2
week?
weeks.
2 weeks.
2-3 weeks.
Not bad, is it? 50 grand a week, like?
No. No, but no, the money was good. And what happened basically is the hash market, it started dropping, and the price over in the UK started dropping. I think due to the fact that skunk started hitting the UK pretty hard, you know, in the later 90s, you know, in the early noughties. And by the time 2000 came, a kilo of hash had gone from like 2,400 to 1,400, and you were still needing to pay £600 in Spain. So the money just you would have to move such a hell of a lot of the stuff to make anywhere near the same money. It wasn't getting lucrative anymore.
You've lost that margin that you were taking out of it, I suppose.
Yeah. So then, you know, and like you say, you like in any business, if you're good at what you do, people want to use you, and you know, how about moving a bit of this instead, like.
What were you telling your friends or people that you did for work? How did you get your money? Like, what were you telling them?
Well, most of my life, I've lived in Portugal. So, no one really asked. A lot of the time, you know, we might have a little business over there, have a bar or a club or something that you could pretend was earning money.
Okay.
when I was in the UK, I was in the UK for 4 years before I went to prison, and I bought and sold cars. So it looked as if you was making money that way.
Yeah.
When really it was just something to look. I'm selling cars.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one ever really asked. I suppose people knew, but do they really care?
I suppose if you keep yourself to yourself and just get on about your business, then
Yeah,
it doesn't affect anyone.
yeah. Like I say, I've always been quite sort of tried to stay secretive, but you know, it's hard. People talk. People know. People obviously, oh, he does this, he does that. You know. I remember when I came back from. I lived in Ibiza for 2 years. I came back from Ibiza and I had money in the bank over there from the accident. I broke my legs. I got paid something like 8 years later. Took 8 years for the insurance company to pay me out. And there was legal money in the bank in Ibiza. And I come to Lloyd's Bank here in Abergavenny. And I went in and I said, listen, I've got some, I think it was about £80,000 left in the bank there in potatoes. I said, I've got this money in a account in Ibiza. I'd like to transfer it to the bank, please. Who do I talk to? A few minutes later, no, we're not interested in this money. We understand you're a drug smuggler, and we don't think it's legal money. Unbelievable. That's what they said to me.
What do you say? What do you say to someone like that?
Well, yeah, what? Well, listen, it's legal money. No, we're not getting involved. So I had to go to. I went to Midland. It was then. I think it's changed its name now, is it? It was Midland Bank then. And I went to them and I said, listen, I've got this. Can I see the manager? I've got this money in a IB from account. Can you please phone my solicitor?
Yeah.
Lloyd's Bank refused to take it, but can you please phone my solicitor because it's legal money. He will tell you it's legal money.
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, come out and offer that. And I went back. He went, listen, I've spoken to the solicitor. I'm fine that the money's legal. Yeah, we'll accept it. So yeah, if somebody in the bank, and I hadn't even been living in the country, you know, so
mad.
They know.
You know, like your life, this journey that you've kind of gone on through all this. Do you, like you were talking about the two guys from Colombia there and the Venezuelans, that do you become quite like matey with them and like? You've obviously gone down. You've done over 14 and a half years in jail. Like, do you? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Do you get matey with people like that? And like, you know, I'm not saying anyone's contacted you now since you've come out or anything, but like, whilst you're doing this, do you become friendly and get to know them? And actually, you don't see it as a bad thing what you're doing. You are literally just working for someone that you said, you know, you mentioned colleagues, and the way you talk about people, it's almost like with a bit of an affection. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I respect the people. Yeah, they're the people you work with, you know. They're not the kind of people I would associate with after the work.
Yeah.
Mind you, know, the Colombian guys, they're really nice guys. I would still go out to dinner in a club with the guys. Yeah, they were nice fellas. Not that I'd probably be in that situation, but yeah, you sort of keep work and your own life separate to the work.
Yeah.
But no, I respected them. I gave them a lot of respect. Well, you've got to. They're big players in the game, like, you know.
Yeah.
I suppose. In a way, you look up to them, but I suppose in a way they looked up to me as well because they needed me as much as I need them. It's all you're all pieces of a jigsaw puzzle, aren't you? That need to be there to be put together,
Yeah. Do you, as you're working your way up various, let's call them organisations that you're working for and people, was there ever a time then when you're getting asked to transport something and you've been uncomfortable with it and gone, no, that's not for me?
Yeah. Well, it's a bit like you said a minute ago about did I think there's anything really wrong with it, sort of thing you're implying. I didn't really think there was much wrong with moving hash because I used to smoke hash. I don't anymore. I didn't think there was anything really wrong with transporting cocaine because I used to take cocaine. I don't anymore. I mean, after 14 years in prison, you don't become dependent on it anymore, obviously. So, if I'm taking it myself, I can't really see is there's that much wrong with it. It was a way of earning money, and it was a business, but it was a product that I would also be using myself, not on a regular basis, but I wouldn't be shy to have a line, no, at all. I would never move anything that I thought was morally wrong. Now, to me, heroin is morally wrong. I would never make money on people's misery. But then people have said, yeah, but cocaine damages people's lives. And yeah, but okay, but not in the same way. You can say, to me, you can say that about, my argument's always been, you can say that about anything. If someone drinks too much alcohol, it will kill them. Okay, cigarettes, that's a larger time frame, obviously. Oh yeah, but then the people say, what about people in the money situation? Listen, I know a lot of people, a hell of a lot of people, that socially take cocaine, and it doesn't ruin their lives. They enjoy it maybe at a weekend or at a party or after a wedding and someone's in the toilet sniffing cocaine. We've all been there. Yeah. There's a lot of people listening probably know what I'm talking about. So I don't twist anybody. I wasn't never twisting anybody's arm. You've got to take these drugs. You have to take X amount of these drugs. It's all about moderation, and with anything in life, you can have a little bit of anything and be happy with it. But there are some people that can't moderate themselves, and that they become addicted to things no matter what they're taking. If they're not getting involved with cocaine that heavily, there might be alcohol, it might be heroin, it might be another illegal pharmaceutical. I mean, there's so many people hooked on so-called legal drugs, from doctors,
Tramadol, painkillers, or whatever.
It's like there's a lot of people out there that's got an addiction to something, and I didn't really see. I know cocaine, does bring about more crime into this country, which obviously isn't a good thing, and I'm not proud of that part of the industry. But again, I wasn't really part of that industry. I really didn't see it at the time. There's a lot of drug wars going on and people getting hurt over that. But there again, if it wasn't, that, it'd be something else.
Yeah.
I think something else would just take over in its place. So, to me, what I was doing was morally acceptable.
I'd love to talk about, I don't know how much detail you can go into, but I'd love to talk about the sequence of events that leading up to what eventually turned out to be your arrest with the boat, Samantha, the 300 bricks that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever have a clue that you were being watched? I think you said it was SOCO, Serious and Organised Crimes.
SOCO, yeah, Serious Organised Crime Agency.
Like, did you have any inkling that you were being watched at that point? At this point, how long have you been doing it for? Are you allowed to say? Like, just talk me through that sequence of events, I suppose, so that I can understand that journey, if that makes sense.
Well, in court it came out a couple of times about how long I've been doing it for. Yeah, I can't really answer that question without incriminating myself, I suppose. But it came out in court a few times from the prosecution and SOCO, I think, that they don't believe this was the first time we had done this. Okay. And I think that's why we got such a big sentence, because, you know, they were basically saying you don't just start
yeah.
moving that kind of amount, working with these kind of people. It's an escalation. Okay, let's say they were right. But as to how much and how many times, I don't really think that's a good thing for me to answer.
That's fine.
As far as the situation, what sent me to prison. As far as that situation, that started. I got a phone call. I was in Abergavenny in September 2006, and from someone I knew in Portugal, saying, "Oh, we've been offered this bit of work. There's some cocaine needs moving from South America. We can sort of choose where. We can Panama, Barbados, Venezuela, Margarita, wherever. It can be taken wherever. So it's probably down to us to choose where. And are we interested?" And it seemed a very lucrative proposition they was offering us. The money was good. So I actually had a chat with some family members. Not mentioning any names, but I had a chat with some family members, and we decided, okay, one more. Go on, it's worth a go. Let's have a look.
Were you out of the game at that point then?
Yeah, I was out.
Okay. I'll come on to that in a bit then, because it'd be interesting to know. All right, let's do it now. How would you get out for something like that when you've built such a reputation and so many people, networks, industries rely on someone like you? How would you get out?
Oh, they don't really rely on me. It's they have a lot of people they rely on. I'm just one avenue, like, you know.
Okay.
So like I say, our little firm, we work for ourselves, like.
Yeah.
And it's up to us if we went to work or not. There was no being lent onto. You can't pull out. You have to stay in. Do you know? Who the fuck are you talking to?
Yeah.
You know. No, that weren't happening. Maybe some people could be manipulated into that, but we wouldn't have been manipulated into that situation. No, that wasn't happening. Yeah, so we decide, okay, we'll go this one more, you know. It seemed financially, couldn't turn it down, basically. Greed gets the better of you, I suppose. And, you know, being out of it for 2 years as well, it's like, kind of missed it.
The buzz of it.
Yeah, the whole situation going away. Yeah, I kind of missed it, you know, because yeah, yeah. It's funny to say, isn't it? But
It's interesting looking back, I suppose. That you've obviously had a lot of time to think.
yeah, hell of a
And
lot.
it's I'm fascinated watching you as you're remembering these things and talking
Yeah.
about these things, because just like you got a smile on your face now, like you know what you did legally was wrong, but morally you were okay with it, and I understand why, because it was a job.
Yeah, listen, it's I was proud of what I did. You know, I still am proud of what I did. There's not many people who I don't think could have done what I did. You know, and certain family members used to say to me, "I'm proud of you for what you do." Not because of the smuggling drugs, proud of you, but you can do something that not many people can do or would be able to do. You know.
It's a niche skill set.
Yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah, and I look back and you say I'm smiling. Yeah, I had a good life, you know. And people say to me, the 14 and a half years you've done in jail, do you regret what you've done? And do you regret the time? I'm like, no. I don't regret a single minute of it. Okay, it'd been nice not to do the 14 and a half years, but I'm not a person that looks back and cries over spilt milk. There's no point looking back and regretting, because you can't change what has happened. You know, even the 14 and a half years I've done in prison, it killed me in the beginning. It was hard, you know. I lost my wife, I lost my daughter, I lost everything I ever owned, everything I ever worked for, and your freedom's taken away from you, and you know you're not in a good place. But those moments and those situations have made the person me I am today.
Yeah.
Without you, it's cause and effect. The causes and the effects that I've gone through in the past have made me who I am today. You know, and I'm a far more rounded, confident, better person for what I've been through. And that might sound a bit strange, and it does sound strange even to me saying it. But
I kind of get it.
But I know it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird that I don't say I'm glad I was in prison at all. I never wanted to go there. I wish it didn't. Well, there you go. I'm just saying I wish it didn't. I don't think like that. I wish it didn't. It did. You can't wish something didn't happen that happened. You can't want to change something. It is what it is. People say it is what it is all the time, but they don't really understand and mean it and know what they're saying. You know, the situation is, it happened the way it happened. You know, I had a great life beforehand, and I wouldn't change any of my past at all for a second.
I suppose, and I'd love to come on to jail itself, prison, and that stretch that you did in a bit. I suppose it's quite liberating when everything's taken away from you. You could probably find out who you really are, what really matters to you, and everything else then after that is maybe a bit of a bonus, or it doesn't matter, so you get rid of it. Like, you're starting again from scratch, essentially, I suppose.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Liberating, I wouldn't say it was liberating, but I understand what you're saying. But no, I didn't really see it as liberating.
But now, do you feel like a sense of freedom now?
Yeah, but I've always had a sense of freedom. Like my life back then, you know, I wouldn't work very often. I'd make quite a lot of money when I did go to work.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have to.
Yeah.
I'd get up whatever time I wanted. I'd do whatever I wanted. Used to drive nice cars, a nice house, buy expensive clothes, go on nice holidays. Yeah, I was pretty liberated before I came to prison. As I say, life was good. I feel liberated now. I've left prison.
Yeah.
Once a little bit more, it's just so nice not to be told. You've got to go here. You've got to do this. It's just, puts a smile on your face, Yeah, and okay, I've got to start again, start from scratch all over again. But that's a good challenge in itself. I'm not a person who sulks and says, "Oh, it's all woe is me. It's unfair. It's unfair." It's not. It happened. Crack on. Get on with it. Do the best you can.
Yeah.
What else can we do? Huh? Soldier on.
Exactly. No, and it would break some people, but you seem to have found a peace with it. You look like you're content with it, shall we say? Didn't particularly like it.
Well,
circumstances could have been different, but
I'll tell you what helped me. Halfway through my prison sentence, I started going to Buddhism classes, and there's a very nice guy there called Kimadamo, and he was a high-ranked Buddhist, a Thai Buddhist monk, and he taught me a lot, and through meditation and his teachings, I began to understand that things are what they are, and we only suffer as humans because we want things to be different than the way they are. Like, for example, we lose something, we don't want that thing to have been lost, Somebody dies, we don't want that person to have died. Well, I'm sorry, that thing has been lost.
Yeah.
Stop wanting it not to be. Stop wanting that person not to be dead. They have died. And it might sound black and white, but that's really the way it is. Stop wanting things to be different than the way they are. They are what they are. You have to accept things for the way they are. That's what really got me through prison. It was hard the first 5 or 6 years, but once I started getting into Buddhist way of thinking, I'm not saying I'm actually even a Buddhist, but if I am, I'm a bad Buddhist. But the way they think is so rational. And it's correct. It's right in that. Stop wanting things to be different than they are. It's quite simple, Things are what they are. Accept them for what they are, and you won't suffer mentally as much. You will alleviate your suffering by understanding and accepting. And halfway through my sentence, I accepted that was the situation I was in. I had to accept it. Now the Buddha said there was two things. When faced with a challenge, there are two things you can do, and only two things that are logical. Anything else is madness. One, try and change that thing. If it's possible for you to change it, change it. If it's not possible for you to change the situation, there's only one logical, non-crazy thing you can do, and that is to accept it. So I learned to accept this is the situation I'm in. Make the bloody best of it, because it's all you've got. Ain't going to last forever. Nothing in this universe lasts forever. Everything has got a time span. So you'll be out one day, but at the moment, Paul, accept this, because it's all you got. And that, it doesn't stop you suffering, but it alleviates. You can. There's people I've seen in there, drive themselves crazy with what if this would have happened this way if I hadn't. Yeah, but you did. Never mind what if. It happened that way. You're in prison, deal with it. And numerous people in the high security prisons would commit suicide each year, because they couldn't take it.
Yeah.
But that wasn't an option for me.
I feel like that's like a life lesson that more people could probably deal with just in everyday life.
Yeah.
Accept it, work with it, control the controllables.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I used to play a bit of rugby, and like that's the thing we would always say: control what you can control, deal with the rest as you can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And more people should do that. I'd love to just go back to that story, like the lead up to, obviously, you getting picked up and caught and stuff like.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. We sidetracked a bit there.
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. We decided to do this job, and so we'd organise with people this end who would give us expenses money. So let's say 50 grand expenses money. That's to go over there, to buy the boat, pay for hotels, pay for the container to come back, car hire, flights, And it was quite generous, So we was plenty of money to go and have a nice time.
I've never been to Venezuela. Is it nice?
No, Venezuela's not. It's very dangerous. Caracas is one of the most dangerous cities in the world. But Margarita's beautiful, yeah, and it's a tourist destination. It's a Caribbean island.
Yeah.
It's just off the north coast of. It's the most southern Caribbean island. Down near Curacao and French Antilles and Dutch and French Antilles down there, just not far from the South American coast, like. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a really nice place to go. So yeah, so we as our chats over here, and then books our flights and head down to Margarita. So we land in Margarita. We hire a car at the airport. Our big American Jeep thing. There's another thing where it's amazing. You pull in a petrol station and fill up when you're at the airport. Petrol in Venezuela, I don't know what it is now, but I think it's probably about similar. It was 12 pence a gallon.
Fuck off.
I swear to God. The government give it away free. They've got so many oil reserves there.
Yeah.
The 12p is for the petrol station. The pump price.
Yeah.
So that's their charge.
Yeah.
The petrol's free.
Fucking hell.
Unbelievable.
And look at the state of this place. Like, people were queuing for days.
But I think the economy's so bad in Venezuela, if it wasn't free, the country would go into a halt. They wouldn't be able to afford to pay for it,
Got you.
So it's like a little bonus given from the government. Free petrol. Unbelievable. Virtually free. So we get in our car, where we're going to stay. So we drive, Sheraton, let's go and stay in a nice hotel. So we jumps in the Sheraton. And I had to meet the Colombians the next day. So we was given a phone number. So our phones it. So where are we going to meet? Where are you going to meet? McDonald's. Yeah, let's see you in McDonald's, or, wherever at lunchtime or something, So we meets up with these guys. Had a chat with them, and straight away you could see nice guys, decent fellas. They were quite trendy-looking guys for Colombians as well. Good-looking, trendy fellas,
Yeah.
You can tell they like to party and that, So situation was before I left. It was, please do not get us to go there until the product is there for us.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than going somewhere and waiting for something.
Yeah.
And then that thing might not even come, and you've got to clear off, go home, and come back again. And then that doesn't look good. What's he flying in and out like a yo-yo for, So, okay. Is it here? I think some of it was there. not all of it. So straight away it's like, oh my God, what the hell? Oh, but it'll be in the next couple of days. So in the meantime, it's up to me. I knew a lot about powerboats, and it was my job to. I'm a carpenter by trade. It was my job to cut the thing open and hide it. So I had to be the one to basically go around with the person who's putting the name to the boat, who was my co-defendant who got arrested with me. We'd go around to the boatyards and look for something that would do the job, and the 300 would go in it, you know. So we'd pop him around boatyard after boatyard, and we come across this Samantha, which I thought it's going to be tight, but we'll get it in there. It'll go in this one. So in the meantime, still talking with the Colombians, it turned up. No, still not turned up. So we buy the Samantha. Now in Venezuela, you either have to go to the notary, which is a government building, to get a license to tow a vehicle. It's all about money over there, you know, the license for this, because we need money. We'll give you a stamp, but we need money. So everything's, I suppose, the same over here, isn't it? Yeah. Or you pay the police to drive in front of you. I know that's a bit crazy, isn't it? So it's either, so someone's going to get some money out of it somewhere. Yeah. It's what a scam. Anyway, so we arranges with a Venezuelan guy and the Colombians. The Venezuelan turns up with the Colombians in his car. We got the Jeep. We go to the boatyard. We put the boat on the back, and the Venezuelans like, right, we can't leave yet. I said, why not? We have to wait for the escort. I said, what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean escort? Well, then round the corner comes California Highway Patrol Chips. Do you know what I mean? On his Harley Davidson, a Venezuelan copper with his sunglasses and his he looked like he was straight out of Chips off, you know, the program. His big boots, you know, sunglasses. He looked cool as hell. And he's a Harley. Pulls up in front. And I'm like, no, this guy can't be taking us to the warehouse. We can't have police following us to this warehouse. I'm not comfortable about this at all. Yeah. The Colombian went, don't worry. I said, what do you mean, don't worry? Yeah, I said, don't worry. I said, what do you mean? He went, did you are the Venezuelan guy? I went, yeah. I said, that's his cousin.
That's mental.
Oh, so it's cool then. Yeah, it's cool.
That's fucking mad.
Yeah. So that was good. So yeah, it's better the devil you know, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we takes the boat to the warehouse, big massive warehouse. Just this little boat in the middle of it. And we just waits around, go and have a bit of fun, you know, go out for meals, go out nightclubs and things, and waiting for the rest of this shipment to turn up. I think there was 100 there. Maybe don't really. I think it was 100. We was waiting for the 200 to turn up. Anyway, we probably booked 2-week, 15-day flights. Because it can be done in that time, yeah. We can get there, do the job, done, out, go, you know, back home. All the way up to where the flights were about to leave. Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. Never turned up. So we listen. Do us a favour. We're going home. Not waiting, because it could be waiting. I don't know, a month. Yeah. We wait 2 months. I don't know. I had a wife and kid at home. Yeah. I missed them, you know. do us a favour, do not phone us until you have got it in the warehouse. When you've got it in the warehouse, I'll fly back over, I just get a week flight, it'll be done in a couple of days, dusted, I'm off again, yeah? I don't really want to be hanging about. Okay, won't phone you until it's here. So I think it was 3 weeks later, I got a phone call, yeah, see it. Is it there? Yeah, see it. Okay, sure, yeah, see it. Book another flight. Fly back over. Okay, do the work in the morning? Well, it's not exactly here, it's coming tomorrow. Unfucking believable.
Are you relaying this back to your people here, like their business around?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm fuming now.
I bet.
But you can't get too fuming with Cali Cartel boys.
They fold you up.
I'm fuming inside and think, yeah, and I'm effing and jeffing a bit, and they're like, come on, it'll be here tomorrow. I said, fucking hell. No, but really this time, I'm like, wow, really? Have you done this again? I think like 3 days later, it actually did turn out, and it was the rest of it was dropped off, like, But yeah, that's you. I suppose they've got to go. It's got to come from Colombia and go through borders and go through ways that normal things don't travel through, and people's hands have to, palms have to be crossed with silver and certain checkpoints and things like that. So it turns up. I do the work. Cut the thing open, put it in, pulled it all back, fiberglass it all down, all back, nice, as if you wouldn't know. You would
false deck.
No, it's the same deck. It's just if you stand inside a boat, your feet will be on the water level. Now, what's under you? You've probably got 2.5, 3 foot of expanding foam under you, because that's what's under the water. The part of the boat that's under the water. Yeah. And it's hollow apart from it be full of expanding foam in case it gets hit on the bottom, it won't fill up with water. So you basically cut the floor and take the expanding foam out, put the cocaine in, put the expanding foam back, fiberglass it all back properly. I was very good with a bit of fiberglass. I had plenty of practice. Put it all back and make it as was, like, so you would not know to look at it that it had ever been tampered with, And then that the person, my co-defendant, his job was basically then to organise it to be shipped back to the UK, But it's basically just going to see a transport agent while you're over there. You can either phone them or go to the office, have a chat with them. Organise when it's going to be picked up, how much it's going to cost, you're paying the monies, and a lorry would come, low loader, throw it on the back of a low loader, and it would go off to the port and wait its turn to get onto the ship, and that would go onto a container vessel. Maybe you could get a boat into a container, maybe you couldn't. If you couldn't get a boat into a container, you'd get a curtain-sided flat rack container. Okay. Which was like a curtain-sided, like an Arctic lorry with curtain sides, the same thing, So it would bulge out the sides. It didn't have solid walls, It'd have curtains, like plastic curtains.
Sheeting, I got you. Yeah.
So and it'd be built up. You put it on the base, and it'd be built up round it, And basically wait for that to come home. But unfortunately, this time it didn't go home. No, it didn't get home. What had happened was Second time, there was a few problems. The reason he got caught in Venezuela, because it got caught at the port in Venezuela, was because the people over here were panicking. It was taking so long. It took longer than normally would because they didn't have a flat rack container, curtain-sided container. It had to come from Norway, where William Williamson, it was Norway or Sweden, one of the two, and they had to wait for a ship that was coming, the next ship that was coming over, and there was going to be one on there. Anyway, they was getting a bit worried. Maybe they took money off other people. I don't know the situation. But I think that's what might have been happening. They'd probably done the same things the Colombians done, not used their money. Said, listen, you give us X amount, and we'll give you whatever, and use their money to make their money, So they was putting some pressure on my co-defendant. Listen, what's going on? Contact the shipping agent. Find what's going on. So he's kept contacting him, and the shipping agent's basically saying, "Listen, I've got some news for you. I'll tell you. Wait for me to phone you. I'll send you an email as soon as I've got some news." A few days later, they're getting in touch with him again, and he's phoning me out and saying, "Listen, stop bothering this guy. He's told you." Yeah, but they're saying this, and he was panicking because these guys are quite heavy fellas, Yeah. And my co-defendant's panicking. No, but they've said this, that, and the other, and I've got to listen. I don't care what they're saying. They'll be happy when it gets here, but they won't be happy if it don't get here. And if you carry on, they're going to smell something here.
You're making noise.
Yes, stop making this. Yeah, exactly.
Unnecessary noise.
Yes. Yeah. Leave it. Just leave. Wait till this. Anyway, he's getting pressurized by these guys who don't really know the ins and outs of the business. Leave the guys to do the business who know what they're doing.
It's your expertise.
Yeah. If you want to put a boiler in, call a plumber.
I know exactly what you mean.
Do you know what I mean? Don't call a bricklayer. Put a bloody plumber. Unbelievable. So this is what happened. So the agent in Venezuela contacted the customs authorities there and said, "Listen, I want this boat checked. I think this might be cocaine in it." Because what happens over there, if cocaine is found in it, everyone to do with the situation will be put into prison.
Over there?
Yeah, everybody, probably including the logistics, the shipping agent.
Yeah.
They might think he's got something to do with it.
Yeah,
then it will go to court, maybe a year or two later, like on remand, same over here.
Yeah.
And it will come out in the wash what went on.
Yeah.
But you might have done a year or two on remand. No, he didn't want that. So he's basically saying, listen, I think there's something wrong with this. Please check it. And if there is, it's nothing to do with me. Yeah. Right? Because I'm saying to get it checked. I'm washing my hands of this, So they've checked it with dogs and I suppose fibre optic cameras and this, that, and that. Come back, no, we're not. There's nothing really shouting out at us here. He said, well, I think there's definitely something in there. I want it X-rayed. Now it doesn't matter how good you are at hiding anything, you don't get through an X-ray. So we knew from that moment on that it's going to be gone, but it wasn't really a problem. We talked to both sides, let them know the situation. It's getting X-rayed, it's going to be gone. Okay, not a problem. We've got 500 in the Bahamas. Wait, see what happens with this. We'll go and move that. Okay, so like you say earlier about, if something goes down, is it a problem? No, just that one's gone. Let's go make some money on this one over here. Because like I was saying, if you can turn £2,000 into £30,000, you're 15 times in your money.
You're fucking right.
You know, if you can turn like £500,000 into £9 million, there's it's not, and that's not just, you know, one person's profit. Obviously, there's the Colombian firm, there's whatever firm there is over here, there's the transport to pay, there's people to get, you know, bribes here and there along the way. I suppose. Yeah, and these firms are not just one or two people. Yeah, there's a lot of hands in the pocket, obviously, but still, it's a lucrative way to turn a profit, isn't it? So that's basically what happened over there with it getting caught. Then the authorities over there asked for my co-defendant to be sent over there, extradited, to face charges, because his name was on, his passport details were on the container. And the obviously the authorities are over here like, we can't do that. You know, human rights do not exist in your country. You know, the prisons there are barbaric. They carry around machetes and guns in the prisons over there. You know, the guards do not go in the prison. They just patrol the walls, make sure no one escapes. The prisoners get on and run the prison themselves. Like, it's not a good place to be.
Fuck that.
So they go, no. But let's go back a bit. When we came back from the airport, my co-defendant was pulled in at customs. I walked straight through. He got pulled in at customs. He was told, make sure you wash all your kit and all your clothes and everything, your bag and everything. Wipe it all down with disinfectant and everything, you know, because we know you've been sniffing. We'd all been sniffing, like, you know. Because if you get swabbed at the airport, you don't know really when he's setting off alarm bells unnecessarily. Yeah. Like that. Anyway, they swabbed him. Alarm bells. You sniffing cocaine? No. Swabbed him. Yes, you have. Okay, maybe I have a little bit. A little bit, yeah. Right, when he was on the last day he was leaving Venezuela to go to the airport, I said to him, right, he was going to get going to the notary to get all the paperwork for the boat sorted out. All the documentation, you know, transferred from the guy's name into his name. Said all that documentation, leave with the Colombians. Do not get on the plane without documentation. Till you know what I'm going to say next.
Yeah, of course.
He got on the plane with the documents for the boat. Now he comes to the airport. What have you been doing? Oh, just holidaying, blah, 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 blah. Okay. They takes his bag away. Documents for the boat. Obviously, photocopied it. What's he doing buying a boat? What's he doing buying a boat in Venezuela?
Yeah. This is, not the average man doesn't do that, do they?
No, you don't go on holiday, right? And you swab for cocaine. Okay, a lot of people go to Venezuela and sniff cocaine, but then you don't, not even in what you're doing, just on holiday. Yeah, blah blah. Who'd you go with? Oh, a friend of mine. Oh, okay, where's your friend? Oh, on another flight. Oh, okay. Whatever. His story wasn't adding up, like, you know, and so I think from then on they let him walk, obviously, but from then on I think soccer was on him. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Put some boys on this guy. What's going on? Now 2 weeks later he came down to my house. So then the boys are not just on him, they're on me too. Then when we, as a little chat with some fellas, I can't even say it's about this, to be honest with you. This was pulled up in court. Who were these? Who are these two gentlemen? We've got you on a 45-minute videotape of you, your co-defendant, and two gentlemen talking outside McDonald's again. It's always McDonald's. Everyone knows McDonald's is, doesn't it? Where's McDonald's? There it is. 45 minutes talking to each other, and McDonald's in a retail park in Reading. What were you talking to these gentlemen about? And who are they? And I said, come on. I can't tell you what I was talking to them about, and I can't tell you who they are. So the judge said, listen, if you don't answer the prosecution's question, you could be held in contempt. I said, with all due respect, Your Honour, hold me in contempt, because I am not disclosing who these gentlemen are or what we're talking about. All I will say is it was nothing to do with the boat or the situation in Venezuela.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not an angel. I don't know if they were angels. It was about, I'm not saying it was about anything legal, but it was nothing to do with that situation.
Yeah.
Because you can't be, no.
Not grass.
No, that's not what it's about. It doesn't work that way.
And I bet they try to get you to turn on people to get more of the network.
Oh, I was offered by the Crown Prosecution. The head of the Crown Prosecution offered me a 4-year jail sentence to serve 2 years. At the 4 years, you'd serve half. You'd serve 2 years in an open prison. Your wife and daughter would be kept in a hotel. When you finish for the court case, she would then be put in the witness protection program, change your name. When you leave prison, your name will be changed. You'll have new passports. You'll be reallocated. You'll be in the witness protection program the rest of your life. But you'd only serve 2 years in prison, and you'd obviously not lose your wife, Paul. You're going to go to prison for a long time. Do you think your wife's going to wait for you? If you go Queen's evidence, right, tell us everything that happened, then this is the deal we're offering for you. I said, you fuck. I said to my lawyer, I said, I do respect you for telling me that. Okay, I know it's your job. You've got to tell me. I've got no time to fuck off. Come on, it's not something I would ever do. How can you wake up in the morning and look at yourself in the face, knowing that you're a wrong un, knowing you're a grass.
Yeah.
Not only that, well, that's enough in itself. But listen, you be looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life, waiting for the bullet to come in the back of your head, because that's what will happen. And it's never mind just you, or your wife, or your daughter. I've got a son as well, and I had a mum, and my dad was alive then. And there's other members of family, and if they can't get to you, they'll get to them to get to you. Yeah. So no, fuck you.
Mad.
I know.
It's fucking mad.
But there were probably some people that would, right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Saying Queen's what? Stand up in court and go, yeah, it was, pointing the fingers. No.
And I suppose these people, again, I don't know this, but and you don't have to say anything on this, but I suppose these people know people in high places, not just in Venezuela or Colombia, but here. So how safe might witness protection be for someone like you, who does give up a whole? Oh,
it's not. Firm? It's not safe at all, because
exactly. That's what I mean.
I know someone from being inside, not to mention their names again. Yeah. Very very big fellow in his circle, and they couldn't get to someone because he was in prison, so they got to his mum and dad in witness protection. Knock on the door. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Gone. So no, it's not safe at all, because there was a policeman on the payroll who got the information for him.
It's fucking mental. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm sat here now. Obviously, we don't know each other at all. I'm listening to your story. You're obviously comfortable telling it, but not that I'm worried, because I'm not particularly worried. I'm just a guy sharing a story, right? But is there, or like, would there ever be? Are you ever worried about further repercussions now, or you're happy?
No.
You've kept your mouth shut.
Oh,
you've taken it on the chin because you were the one who got,
of course,
caught or whatever.
Of course. Yeah, of course. yeah, no, yeah, I've done what I would be expected to do in my situation, of course.
And that's just part and parcel of the job.
Yeah, well, it's part and parcel of being a decent person, I think, for a start. It's, I wouldn't be able to look at myself in the face, in the mirror in the morning for being a fucking wrong. There's plenty of them in prison, plenty of them there. No, I've got no worries whatsoever. No, I've done nothing wrong. Got no guilt about anything.
Yeah.
The authorities threw the book at me.
So I read that the charges you got dealt with, they don't normally apply it to crimes that have committed outside the UK. Is that right?
Yeah. What it was there was no, because the crime was committed in Venezuela.
Yeah.
So me and everybody else involved didn't believe that we could be arrested for something that happened in Venezuela.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the charge. I'm looking at my lawyer, embarrassed, thinking, what the are they trying to charge us with here? Now, there was a law that had brought out for terrorists that say like, I think some guy that tried to blow up a couple of planes from Holland to America, but he'd conspired in this country, so he'd done some of the planning in this country to commit a crime in a foreign country.
Yeah.
So this law had only ever been used on terrorists before, because normally with this job we was doing there, it was going from Venezuela to Portugal. It wasn't even coming to the UK, so they couldn't say you're trying to import cocaine into the UK, because there was no evidence or proof whatsoever that it was coming there. It was going to Portugal. And where it went on from there, they said it would come into the UK from Portugal, but they couldn't say it was, because there's no evidence to prove that.
And that wouldn't have been you either. Your job would have been done, so you've got nothing to do with where it goes after from Portugal.
Okay.
Less said, the better.
Okay.
Well, I don't know. I'm assuming, like, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So they arrested us on what fundamentally was a terrorist law, and tweaked it and twisted it a little bit to adapt it to arresting us. So I got arrested and charged and sentenced for a conspiracy to commit a crime outside of the United Kingdom, i.e. trafficking cocaine from Venezuela to Portugal. Which is bizarre, really. It's like, what the frickin' hell's it got to do with them, what I did in Venezuela? Yeah. And they went to Venezuela, and Soccer went to Venezuela, spent a month down there, I think, partying. Probably sniffing themselves. Gaining evidence that probably took 10 minutes, and had a lovely holiday on the state. Fair play to them. And then they invited the Venezuelans over to my trial to hear my to my sentencing, which there was a lot of soccer officers at who all stood up and clapped on the verdict of 28 years, and I think the judge threw the book a little bit hard, because he was saying to the Venezuelan authorities as well, look, this is what happens to drug traffickers in this country. Look how tough I'm going to be on these guys.
Yeah.
And so it was a bit harsh, 28. I think the maximum I've ever heard of in the years I've been inside was a guy I know called the Milkman. I won't say his name, but that was his nickname, the Milton, and he was given 30, but they said potentially involved in 3 tons being brought over in different shipments. So we get to, but 28, is at the time then that's what they were dishing out. But usually when it was for, a ton or more, a ton of cocaine's a lot of cocaine. But they also the attitude is, well, 100, 200, 500 a ton, it's still a lot of cocaine. Yeah. So
I find it mental, and this is completely away from this. Murderers, rapists, paedophiles, they get nowhere near these sentences.
Well, murderers do these days. They probably get. It's gone up a hell of a lot now. But yeah, rapists and paedophiles. It's unbelievable. A lot of people in prison can't believe, that this happens. Well, funny enough, the guy that done the shoe bombing, I was talking just a minute ago about trying to blow up 2 jumbo jets from Holland to America. Conspiracy to kill. What's on a jumbo jet? 500 people?
Yeah.
Conspiracy to kill 1,000 people by blowing up 2 planes. Found guilty. Pleaded not guilty, found guilty. Was given 14 years. At the same time, I got arrested. And I'm like, thinking to myself, how the hell, he was in the same prison as me for a while, thinking, how the hell is this guy, a conspiracy to kill 1,000 people, been given 14 years to serve 7, when I'm a conspiracy to smuggle cocaine, got double. To me, that sounds a bit crazy.
Shoot it the other way around.
Yeah, I'd have thought so. I mean, I joke sometimes and people go, yeah, but drugs and cocaine and this. I say, listen, all I was doing, and I have a little joke and I say, listen, all I was trying to do is give people a good Saturday night.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to kill anybody. I wasn't hurting anybody. Maybe, oh, yeah, but cocaine, yeah, but that's what people do with that afterwards isn't really my concern, No. Apparently, I read some while ago, if you drink 2 gallons of water, it could kill you. So if people go over excess to whatever, you drink 2 or 3 bottles of vodka in a night, it might kill you. Do you know what I mean? If people want to abuse themselves, I can't be held responsible for that, I don't think.
And I bet it's always people that are on their high horse, whiter than white. You shouldn't have done this and that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah.
What was jail like, pal? Talk me through that, because I've never met anyone who's... I know some people who've been to jail, might have done a month or 2, misdemeanors, that sort of stuff, mate. I've never met anyone who's done a time like you've done. I don't know how the system works. Again, it gets almost glamorized, I think, on TV when you see the prison system and programs, and there's a hierarchy and there's a leader and all the unofficial stuff that goes on or whatever, right? I'd love to know, within reason of what you can say, what prison is genuinely like.
It depends what prison. I've done seven prisons on my sentence. I started first of all in Brixton, only for a couple of weeks. I was on remand. Went to court one day after a couple of weeks, and then got a lockout, which means they try and take you back there, but it's full. So then they sent me to Wormwood Scrubs. I did a couple of weeks there. Then they decided to make me a ACAT, high security, category A prisoner, which basically they give to you to make escape impossible. So they put you in a high security prison. So I was sent to Belmarsh, which is a high security prison in London. That was a tough old place. Belmarsh was a tough old place. The regime was hard. Single cell, if you're category A, there are category B prisoners in there as well with you, who in Belmarsh who might share a cell. But if you're category A, you're not allowed to share a cell. You're a single cell, which is a bonus in a way, I suppose. You're not having to shit in front of everyone else and smell everyone else's arse all night long, you know.
Yeah.
But the regime's hard. You spend a lot of time in your cell. Back then, I think, you know, when went 5 channels on the telly, like, you know. So, yeah, it was tough, and that was when you're on remand. But you're always thinking on remand that you might be going home, so it ain't for long. It's pretty rough as well, Belmarsh. That's probably the worst place I was in. But your mindset's not too bad. I was in there about 20 months. But your mindset's not too bad because you're on remand there. So it's a remand holding prison. Because you're hoping you're going home. Then the big day arrives, boom, it's like a bomb's hit you, you know. What the fuck? How am I gonna do 14 years in these places? So that's a tough moment, you know, when it hits home. Then I went to Whitemore. Now, yeah, you say about hierarchy, and there is a hierarchy. It's a lot. Most of the high security prisons were all the ones I went to. I don't know about in the north of England. I think it's a bit different up there. But the high security prisons, I was in Belmarsh, Whitemore, and Long Lartin. They're kind of run by Muslims now. And there is a massive hierarchy within the Muslims. Let's say, I don't know, Long Lartin and Whitemore, probably 50-60% Muslim inmates. All the Asians and most of the blacks would, if weren't Muslim when they got there, would convert. But it was okay. There was some religion aspect to it, but a lot of it was gang related, and to be part of a united family. They sort of call each other, you know, they call each other brothers. Right? And there was a big hierarchy in that. There'll be leaders and there'll be followers, and you know. But they sort of keep themselves to themselves, and then and then the white lads would usually be Catholics or Christians. Just even if you weren't religious, you'd be a Catholic or Christian, so you wouldn't be bothered by the Muslims, really. You know, to be part of that
community.
Yeah. And you'd get your hierarchy in that situation, but it wouldn't be the same thing as the way the Muslims deal with it. Whereas there are leaders, and you will do what. And there was a pecking order all the way down with the Muslims, you know. There'll be head of the wing, and what he says goes. You don't disobey what he says. It's a bit Sharia law in a way in there, you know. And the authorities bow down to it all, you know. It's quite shocking, really, you know. In your own country, you're thinking the way it works. I mean, I've got nothing against the guys. I knew some decent guys who were Muslim, you know, but it was a bit strange the way it goes on, you know, in my own country. I think, wow, they're all a bit odd. And obviously, with the white lads, there was you got tougher lads and the weaker lads, you know. But there's no real like people think there's a lot of bullying going on. That doesn't really happen, you know. There were a lot of the tougher lads would stop bullying going on, you know, look after the weaker lads a lot of the time. The main problems occur in prison because of drugs. People owing money for drugs, because usually it's always on credit. You know, people would take drugs off of whoever's selling, and they would owe them the canteen, because there's no real money to talk about. You could pay money into people's bank accounts, you know, but in the high security prisons, even that was hard, because you can't even get to talk to people on the phone because they're listening to the phone. They could be even listening on a visit, you know. So usually you'd pay. They pay their drugs in canteen. So, and in those prisons there, you could buy whatever food you really wanted. It was like a supermarket. A lot of frozen. You could buy a leg of lamb, a joint of beef, a joint of pork, frozen chicken breast, you know, fish. Keep in the freezer. Whatever you wanted to buy, really, you could buy, because we had big kitchens to cook our own food. Because people were in there for so long, I think it gave people something to do for a start, the cooking aspect, but it's also something to look forward to, a bit of decent food, because the food in there was nonsense. It was absolutely rubbish. Prison food. You can't blame them. I think they got something like £1.60 a day to feed a prisoner.
It's fuck all, mate.
You ain't going to get much food for £1.60 a day, are you?
No, you couldn't get a beer for £1.60.
No, it's not going to be good food, is it?
No.
So yeah, prison was tough. But you just got to get on with it, you know. Like, some people can't get on with it. Some people crumble. Some people commit suicide. Some people got a bit nuts. A lot of people. I got into the gym, you know. You just go to the gym every day, throw your weights around. Takes a bit of energy out of you for a start. I used to go to joinery workshops, so I become a joiner, making furniture. I used to make oak tables like this one here. They really did, yeah, they taught you a lot of good stuff in there, really. You can come out with a few more skills than you went in. I mean, but most people, I think, go in and come out a bigger criminal than what they went in.
Okay.
It seems to be. It depends. A lot of these high security prisons, like, okay, I had 28 year sentence, served 14 and a half years. That's quite a low sentence for those places.
Okay.
Like, the best friend I used to go to the gym with some years ago in Long Arm, he put 10 bullets in someone. He had 32 years minimum, life sentence to serve 32 years minimum. So he won't see the light of day for 32 years, you know.
Yeah.
A guy I played chess with killed his mum and dad with a samurai sword. These
Fucking hell.
I used to we used to have we used to brew some hooch. We used to get someone to brew some hooch for us on the wing, pay some guy to brew some hooch, so you didn't get caught with it, you know. On Fridays, when the Muslim went to prayers, we used to lock the door, and there'd be my pal there I was talking about, who put 10 bullets in someone, a hitman as well, who was a paid assassin, and the guy that was involved in the killing of the mum and dad that I told you about earlier on the witness protection, and me, and we'd go and have a drink in a cell, and music going, you know, and we were steaming drunk on this hooch. And I remember one time that the flaps opened up and two screws have looked in, and they looked at us. We just went pissed out. We were just all held our mixer bowl, you know, the shaker mixer bowls we used to drink in there. Like that. They looked at each other and they went, and just shut the flap. We ain't going in there.
Nah, it's not fucking worth the hassle.
No. That's funny.
Fucking mad.
Yeah. So you know, you had to once a week you let some steam off and go like that, like, you know. But most of the time, I used to The gym was good because you could put a bit of a mindset, you know, into getting somewhere, getting better with the weights. Each week try and get a bit of heavier weight. So, you know, something to push yourself towards. Because, I mean, looking back now, it's gone. And it seems like a distant memory already, you know, after just a few days. I was like, it seemed like I'd always been out here, and that's just some strange memory that happened to me. But at the time, God, there was some tough moments, you know. After 3.5 years, I was married for 15 years. That's why I live in Abergavenny. My ex-wife, she's from here. My daughter's, and she still lives here with my daughter. And after between 3 and 3.5 years, she left me. That was the hardest moment of my life. You know, I don't mind admitting that ripped me in two. Really, really was tough. But you just got to get through these things, you know. It's hard to get through it, but you do. What don't kill you makes you stronger, you know. And like I say, it helped me with the Buddhism after that. But by then I was like, why has my wife left me? And then, you know, why has this happened to me? Why my this, my that? And you know, another thing Buddhism taught me was she was never mine. If I'd have known this then, you know, but it didn't. But I suppose going through that heartache and that loss made me understand loss more, you know. That my ex-wife, she was never mine. She was always her own person. She had her own life. She could do what she wanted to do, you know. And you cling on to these things. And in prison, it's kind of important to have something to cling on to, you know. But when you can let all that go, when you can let it all go, it's quite it's quite freeing, you know. That you haven't got that thing. You haven't. Well, how you can accept things for as they are, as they're happening then, and you're not holding on to things like you used to do, you know. Like, I think a line from Buddha again. I always quote a bit of Buddha. Buddha, good man, Buddha. He used to say, "Listen, hold on to things that you love, but don't hold on to them too tightly. Be willing to let them go, because one day you will have to. And if you hold on too tight, you won't be able to let go, and you will suffer." So that's little lines like that I tell myself a lot, and I remind myself, like tell it to you now, and I tell it to people. But it reminds me as well. Helps me remind myself. Just don't hold on, because you know, my father died in December, and I was still in prison then, and he was on his deathbed, and the prison just allowed me to go up there on the last day, on his final hours. I had to get a train to Newcastle. He was in Newcastle from Pontypool there to Newcastle, you know. And a friend of mine picked me up. I got a train to Manchester actually. A friend of mine picked me up, took me to Newcastle by train, brought me back, and all in 12 hours. That's what time I was allowed out. Yeah, to fly. I had an hour with my dad who was dying on his deathbed, like, you know. He'd had a stroke, and he'd paralysed him. He was in a bad way. And it was emotional to be there, and it was lovely to see him before he went. And he knew I was there. He hadn't seen me for about 3 years, and he used to come and visit me all the time. You know, every 2 or 3 months he'd come down and see me and stay over the night in an hotel, and we got really close, me and my dad inside. He was really good to me, but it was emotional. I was there, and, you know, I obviously had some tears in my eyes from when I was there, and it was sad to see him like he was. But when he went, and I knew he was going, I realised it was his time, you know, and I accepted that that it was his time. I can't want it to be any different because it's not any different. You understand that?
Yeah.
Accept it for what it is, you know, and be happy that my father was there for me when we had the time we had together.
Yeah.
There's no point beating yourself up. And some people don't get over loss, you know.
No.
Oh, I'm not the same. I can never be the same again. Miss my father. Well, come on. The most natural thing you're ever going to do after being born is to die, you know. And it's just a journey along the way, and just try and make the best of it as you can. Enjoy yourself when you can, because we're not here for that long, are we?
In the grand scheme
I mean,
of things, no.
do you know, I'm 56 now. I don't know how old you are. You look 21.
21 stone I am, pal. You know. 56. Do you know what? You're in fucking tremendous nick for 56, pal.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. Yeah, I've actually got an 8-pack, believe it or not.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I have. Not many people at 56 can say that. But I spent 14 years in jail training, you know.
Yeah.
And I eat very, I eat very clean, you know. I'm a pescatarian. I went vegetarian for a while. I went vegan for a little bit, but that was too much. I went a vegetarian, then I started eating eggs. I eat eggs and I eat fish to get the protein in me, like, you know. Yeah, so like I say, you have to accept these things in life. It's like my dad dying, being in prison. It's the way it is, you know, and we can't want things to be any different than the way they are, because they are that way.
Yeah.
If we try and force anything different than that, you will only suffer. So that's the way my mindset works these days, you know. So I'm a much happier individual, like, you know.
Fuck it, I love it, pal, right? I didn't know what I was going to get out of it today. This could be up there with the most fascinating conversations I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Not in terms of just the stories and, you know, I can see when you look back on it, you've enjoyed your life, you've made money, you've lost it all. But the thing I find most amazing is your outlook now. And, like, you're sat there philosophically looking back going, I'll deal with it. Like,
Yeah.
life's okay.
Wow.
We move.
Yeah, listen, yeah, we have to, don't we? What I've learned as well, we're very resourceful human beings, adapting to change, you know. It can be a shock. It can be a shock to the system, but then in 2 or 3 days' time, you're getting used to that shock already, and you're sort of accepting it, you know. Life's full of ups and downs, isn't it? Everyone's going to know this, isn't it? But we can't let things get to us. We can't let things beat us up. Like I say, we're not here for that long. Damn, on enjoy it while we are here, isn't it? You know. What have I was 42 when I went to prison. I'm 56 now. I've got another 14 years. Actually, another 14 years on license, because you do 14 years in prison and you do 14 years on license outside prison to make up the 28 years. So I'm under probation for 14 years. Fart in the wrong place, and they can send you back again. You know?
Okay.
But I've got another 14 years, and I'll be 70. You know, okay. Hopefully, I'm a fit 70. But then you're starting to have to think to yourself, well, the end of my life's drawing in here. You know, so I need to enjoy myself. Don't I? There's no point sitting there hanging about, worrying and moping about, is there? And worrying about, oh, what a terrible time I've had. Yeah, okay, but I've learned from that terrible time. Valuable life lesson. Like I said to you earlier, like, I am the person I am today because the experiences I've been through, and I'm happy with the person I am.
Class.
I'm content.
I fucking love it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Honestly, it's been fascinating. Like
I said, there's a lot of stories. I got some funny stories. Really, I was talking to a friend of mine the other day about it. You know, it was with me in a scenario, and I said I'd love to tell him about that. But I won't, and I can't.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of the times I just smile back at the times I've had, and yeah, I've enjoyed myself. If I die tomorrow, I die a happy man. I mean, okay, like you say, I've had it all and I lost it all, but at least I had it all. You know.
And at least you're happy now. Not many people are happy.
I've driven Ferraris, I've driven Porsches. You know, my last car was a Mustang before I got nicked. You know, I've had fun.
Class.
And I don't regret a second of it.
I love it. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Absolute fucking pleasure. Head over to catflapchats.com where you'll find our back catalogue, our sponsors and partners, our merch. That was fucking incredible. Thank you so much. So, man, hope you enjoyed that. We'll catch you next week.